Hi there, business owner. Are you looking to improve your business knowledge? Do you want to see behind the scenes of successful businesses? And more importantly, are you looking to build a better business in just 15 minutes each week? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the 3Bs podcast. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 3Bs podcast, your go-to weekly 15-minute bite-sized segment to help you build a better business. And this week is something I'm really passionate about, and I've talked about on the podcast before, and that is the value of communication. Communication is where 90% of businesses that I work with and I see in the media fall down. So if you get communication right now, it will really help you build that business as we enter 2025 and beyond. Whether you're leading a team, dealing with suppliers, or engaging with customers, the way you communicate can make or break your business. It's so important to us. At the practice, I put it into the company name. Communication is the C in ABCS UK because, again, I do think it's where a lot of businesses fall down. So in this episode, I'm going to break it down into 3 different key areas: communicating with your customers, communicating with your suppliers, and communicating within your professional network, and why all of them are equally important. By the end of this episode, you'll have actionable tips to improve your communication skills in each area and see how they can directly impact your business's growth. Let's get started. So first things first, communicating with your customers. So it's the most obvious but often overlooked areas of your business. Your customers are the lifeblood and the real heart of your business. Without customers, you don't have a business. So how you engage with them is critical. Here's just 3 reasons why it really matters. So it builds your trust. Clear, consistent communication reassures your customers that they can rely on you, they can trust you, and therefore they're going to buy from you. If they're already a customer, it also enhances their loyalty. People are going to stick with businesses that make them feel heard, seen, and really valued. And also managing expectations. So when you communicate effectively, you avoid misunderstandings about products, services, or timelines, which can so often happen if you're not being clear with the communication. Some little tips to help improve your customer communication are to be proactive. Like, don't wait for them to contact you. Reach out to your customers before they reach out to you. Send them updates, follow-ups, and check-ins regularly. Now, I'm not saying send them an email every single day, but actually that if there's a long turnaround time, so if you make products, for example, that take 4 to 6 weeks to make maybe, and when they order, you say to them your delivery date is in 6 weeks' time, it's really worth setting up those check-in emails to tell them that it's progressing, tell them if there's been any changes in the delivery date, tell them if things are improving or not. It doesn't have to be a huge email, and it's not going to annoy them because they want to know what's going on. They'll probably read it and go, okay, cool, 4 more weeks to go, or whatever it may be. They need to be done proactively before the client is emailing you going, where is my product or where is my thing that I ordered from you 4 weeks ago? Because quite often when they've ordered, they'll have registered it 6 weeks delivery, but we've all got lives, and 28 days down the line, they might not remember that it is a 6-week delivery and just go, oh, I ordered that thing like a month ago and it's not here yet. Listen actively is another big tip from me. It's not just about talking. Listening to feedback is also crucial in business. Encourage your customers to leave reviews and give you that feedback so that you can gauge the satisfaction, so that you can understand where you're going right and also where you're going wrong to make things better. And thirdly, match their style. Whether it's an email, a phone call, or a social media post, meet your customers where they are and where they're most comfortable. If they are emailing or leaving an email when they order, then do it via email. If it's a service or a product that's got a deadline that maybe would reach everybody, then connect with them on social media. Phone calls, definitely if it's a house buying, for example, a phone call might be more beneficial than an email, but be aware that 99% of your time, your customers, especially if you're B2B, are going to be working too. They're going to have lives of their own. They're not always going to be around for a phone call. I know so many people that don't answer their phone. In fact, when clients come on board at the accountancy practice ABCS UK, on our new client form where they provide all their details and all their documents for AML, we ask them their preferred contact method. There's a little drop-down box. They can choose how they prefer for us to contact them. Again, being proactive and enabling that communication right from the start so that they're going to get what they're most comfortable with. It's also worth noting that great communication with customers doesn't just solve problems, it prevents them from happening, which makes you less stressed as a business owner because you're not constantly firefighting. Next, let's talk about suppliers, because without them, you can't deliver the products or services, therefore you still don't have a business. And a lot of business owners will get so focused on that customer side, they forget about communicating with their suppliers. Actually, clear communication with your suppliers can really, really help you in business. It ensures efficiency. So good communication helps streamline processes and avoid any delays because you've built that relationship with them. Treating your suppliers as partners rather than people you're buying things from creates mutual trust, mutual loyalty. And then if anything goes wrong, you've got that strong relationship to call them up and go, oh, I really need that thing as soon as possible. Or is there anything you can do? Money's not coming this month. Is there any chance that we could delay payment or we could extend the terms of our agreement? And those negotiations are going to have a much more favourable outcome in your favour because you have built that trust and loyalty with your existing suppliers. I would recommend being really transparent with your suppliers. So when you are ordering goods or services from them, share your needs. Tell them what it is that you need from them. The thing that I have found most helpful in our practice is getting on board with the software suppliers and being an early adopter and loving technology, getting in there at the beginning and telling them what we need for their service or their software to work best for us and for our clients means you get a better end product. And being honest with them and saying this is what I need from them, they're going to go, yes, we can do it, or no, we can't. And if they can't, you can move on. If they can, you've got that confidence knowing that you feel seen and heard. Because when they're your suppliers, you're the customer on the other side that we've just talked about of your customers. So you have to think of it from both sides. Also, regular check-ins or updates help maintain that relationship with your suppliers. I like to book in quarterly or monthly meetings with the suppliers that we don't speak to regularly. Again, we get into that day-to-day running of our businesses and quite often forget that there is people on the other side of that we're going to need to help us keep our businesses running. And also express gratitude. Now, this is not just with your suppliers and your customers and people in your business, people in your world. A simple thank you goes a really long way in strengthening relationships with everybody in this world. And I think if we all talked about the good things more than the bad things sometimes, it would really help everybody in the business and in the world have a much better time of it. For example, every single person who is listening to this podcast, who is watching on YouTube, who is sharing it with their network on LinkedIn or social media or in conversations with their business owner friends, I am so grateful for. I have so much gratitude that you help me help other business owners. And I like to make sure that I tell you I am so grateful that you are here in my little world for 15 minutes each week whilst earning your CPD. A good example of supplier communications is product businesses, which is slightly different to service businesses in all honesty. If you're running a product-based e-commerce store, for example, and you are expecting a big, busy December or Black Friday or the holiday season, communicate with your suppliers early. Tell them that you're going to need this stock and check in with their delivery timelines. We all know that the post starts slowing down, whether that's parcel or letters. I think at home now we're getting it like once or twice a week. We seem to get a big bundle once or twice a week now. And those delays you can't afford to have as a business owner to get your stock out to your customers. So check in with them and go, what is my last order date for me to get it here by the 15th of December? In time for you to then send it out for your last Christmas date so that your clients and forwarded on customers can get it before Christmas. Where service-based businesses are different is that bookkeeping or consultancy, you're not waiting on a physical thing. Sometimes you're waiting on a specific software to do a job for you. Sometimes you're waiting on information. So in bookkeeping, we can't do our job without being given the receipts, without being given the information of who to invoice, things like that. So when your suppliers feel valued and informed, they're more likely to go the extra mile for you. I have software that I use in the business that I don't even email anymore. I get on LinkedIn, I message them. They've become friends. They've become almost like colleagues, partners in my business. I have had to reach out today to one of my friends at Mimo, and instead of sending an email and getting lost in their inbox, I just DM them on LinkedIn. Like, we've built that relationship so that when I have a problem, it can be resolved much quicker and much faster. And finally, let's discuss communication within your professional network, because this is a really underrated part of business, and it's really vital if you want to grow your business now in 2025 beyond. Your network can be mentors and people you've trained with. It can be experts in your industry. It can be peers, fellow business owners that do what you do. It can be industry connections, even potential collaborators. We have such a great network. I personally have built an incredible network on LinkedIn. It's my favorite social media platform, as I've talked about all the time. So if you haven't connected with me on LinkedIn yet, please go and do, because I love to have you in my world. I love talking to people on LinkedIn. I put a post out this week about roses versus quality streets. So we're ruthless in our household. We put them all into one big tin and mix them all up. And apparently that's not the done thing. But I asked people what they do, like, oh, do they prefer one or the other? Or do they just mix them all in like we do? And so many comments have come from people I don't usually talk to saying, oh, why do you mix them up? Or, oh, no, I like roses. No, I like quality streets. Why is there no heroes in there, for example? Which has then led on to conversations with people of like, oh, hi, thank you for commenting on my post. What is it that you do? And you learn about so many people in the industry or in your zone of genius, or maybe outside of your industry, but it opens opportunities, be it podcast guesting, be it collaboration, be it that they just refer you next time somebody knows that they need your thing that you're selling. So for me, I talk to lots of other business owners who are in the coach or consulting space, and they might not need me as a bookkeeper right now, but they may need us as a bookkeeper in the new year, or they'll be talking to somebody else, because that's what LinkedIn is for, who will mention, oh, my accountant's awful. And they'll go, oh, I know. Have you spoken to Stephanie? Or have you gone and looked at ABCS UK? Like, go and have a conversation with them, because you've built that opportunity for partnerships whilst you're already communicating with your professional network. And I say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And in most cases it is. It's not every case, I know, but the opportunities I've had this year purely from talking to people at events, on LinkedIn. It also strengthens your reputation by communicating with all these people in your industry. Being clear, concise, and professional in your interactions leaves a lasting positive impression. Now, I caveat that by saying that when I say be professional, still be you, be your authentic self. I like to say that we're professionally unprofessional. I'm just a girl from up north, and I often say that. And when people get to know me and realise that I am the same person as I'm talking to you, as I am off camera and outside of work, I'm just me. And despite the fact that my visibility has grown massively over the last year, I'm still me. Fame hasn't gone to my head, if you want to call it that. I don't really think I'm famous, but I know in the industry, I am seen as an industry leader now. And that's an important step to take into. And it's something you have to really grow into, and is often outside of your comfort zone. But that reputation I have in the industry is through me connecting with my peers and people in my industry, and volunteering myself to go on webinars with my professional body, or helping out softwares with their development. So great ideas often come from seeing something somewhere else. So I see imitation as the ultimate form of flattery, as long as it's not complete copying. I think it's really important to take the wins. And when I do something, so for example, the 3Bs podcast is short, sharp, 15-minute podcast episodes. I have yet to see another short, sharp podcast. If you find one, do email me and let me know, because I'd love to get in touch with them. But that came from Ashley Leeds' 15-minute LinkedIn. He's a LinkedIn trainer. He was on a podcast a few weeks ago. My podcast was born out of seeing his thing. I was like, oh, I really like that thing. And for Ashley, I hope that it's the ultimate form of flattery for him, that I like what he was doing so much that I applied his idea to my idea, and the 3Bs podcast was born. I am living proof of how much communicating with your customers, communicating with your suppliers, and communicating with your professional network can really help. Whether it's customers, suppliers, or your professional network, clear and effective communication will build stronger relationships, will increase your efficiency, and open new opportunities for growth. If you need any examples for your specific industry or niche, tag us on social media at the 3Bs, or drop us an email. And whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a podcast platform, subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. And until then, I'll see you next week. Bye. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the 3Bs podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please connect with us on social media. Like, rate and review wherever you are listening to this podcast so that I can help more business owners build a better business. See you next week.